Okay. Hi, Dennis and Lola.
Hi, Sarah.
Hello,
What are your full names and your parents' full names, starting with Lola?
Aurora Santos Goes.
Oh, that's pretty.
My mother's name is Rita Torres.
How do you spell that?
Torres.
Okay, Torres, yeah.
Yeah.
And what was her maiden name?
My mother's maiden name is Urias. So do you want me to go ahead and give you the,
Because people can look it up on the internet if you spell it.
well, Rita Urias, Urias Torres.
And where was she born?
She was born in Tucson, Arizona.
Oh, that's neat. And her parents were from.
From Mexico. I don't know exactly where. It was the state of Sonora
Okay. And where were you born?
in San Jose, California.
Oh, okay. What year? You don't want.
I don't want to tell you.
Okay.
No.
Ah, she's got a good sense.
1930.
1930. High school, what did you do for a living? Did you live at
I
home?
worked for Westinghouse as a secretary and stayed there just for a short time. And then later on, I was employed through a hospital. I was a switchboard operator for, I worked in 3 different hospitals and for a period of 45 years.
That's a long time. Did you enjoy it?
I loved it.
That's
I enjoyed
great.
talking to people over the telephone.
And when did you meet your husband?
I met him in 57.
56?
In 1956, I attended a party and he was there, and that's when we met.
And Dennis, what is your full name and your parents' names?
My full name is Dennis John Goes. My dad's name is Herman Eno Peter Goes. He was German, and they had long names. And my mother is Anna. Little. Pardon me?
Augusta.
And yeah, Augusta. Yeah. Minnie Augusta Faber.
Oh, okay. Her real name was Minnie, or was that a nickname?
No, her real name was Minnie.
Oh, okay. So
She
they
was named
met.
after her grandmother.
Oh, they met in Germany, or they.
No, they met in west central Kansas. She was living there at that time, and then my dad was there. His dad was the Lutheran minister of this rural community. Well, it was out in the country, rural community, and that's where they met and got married and started their married life in west central Kansas near a little town called Nakoma. And that's where I was born.
But your father was from Germany. Where was your mother's family
No,
from?
my grandfather was from Germany.
Oh, okay.
My
Her-
dad was
Herman.
born. My dad
No.
was born in Iowa.
What was your grandfather's name?
John.
Oh, because you're Dennis John Goes.
Yeah.
And in Germany, your name was spelt the same as it is here, Goes?
Far as I know, yes.
Oh, okay. And how many sisters and brothers did you have?
Me? Or-
Yeah. I
okay.
mean, you.
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. I,
So you have 4 brothers and sisters? One Gloria.
yes, Gloria, and then my older brother was Daryl. That's the one who lived in Denver. And then my brother in San Antonio, Texas, is Eugene. He's Eugene Herman Goes.
Mm-hmm.
And then my youngest brother here in San Jose is Harley Edward Goes.
Oh, you've got a good memory of the names. And your sisters, you have only sisters.
3 sisters, Ruth Lopez, Rita Fernandez, and Mandy Kelly.
Nice. Okay. And how long did your parents live? Let's see. Your mother's was Rita, you said?
Yes,
And what was your father's name? Ray?
Ray. Yes.
Do you know how long they lived?
My mother lived to be 92. My father, we lost contact, so
Mm.
My father passed away when he was 76, in 1976, because he's born in 1900.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mother lived to the ripe old age of 99. And she was
That's
still,
fantastic.
her mind was still sharp, but she had had strokes, and they affected her ability to be mobile. She had to go around in a little
And you
crate.
didn't want a big wedding for some reason?
No,
No, we got married in Reno, Nevada.
Okay. And who was with you when you got married? Anybody come, or just the two of you? Or?
my sister Ruth was the maid of honor, and her husband Frank was the best man.
Do you regret not having a big wedding, or do you think you liked the way you did it?
No, I like the way we did.
Yeah, I was.
We were happy
yeah.
with just going to Reno.
That's nice. And so you decided to have kids. How did you decide? Did you just decide before you got married that you both wanted to have kids, or did you decide after, or did it not come up, or?
I don't really know that it came up, but I'm sure it was after we got married that
Yes.
we decided we wanted to have kids.
Shortly after, we
Yeah.
decided that we wanted to start a family.
Mm-hmm. And you had already had one son from
Yes.
a prior.
Yes, Frank.
Mm-hmm.
When Dennis and I married, Frank was 8 years old.
Well, can we know the name of the father of Frank? What his name was, or is he out of the
Sure.
picture?
Yes, Pete Turupiati.
Oh, he was Italian.
No,
No?
Mexican.
Mexicano.
Okay. So,
But shortly after Dennis and I married, Dennis adopted Frank. So
okay.
his
so-
name is Frank Goes.
And then you tried to get pregnant, and 7 years later you had Sabrina.
Yes.
So your son was already.
Frank, the time Sabrina was born, Frank was 14.
That's fun. Then you got pregnant with Derek,
Yes.
and so you had 3 kids.
Oh,
Any advice you would give to your grandchildren or great-grandchildren on some parenting advice on what you would say worked the best?
What works the best?
You can't love them too much.
Oh,
Derek and his sister, and of course Frank was older then when they came around, because Frank was 14 when Sabrina was born.
Mhm.
But we couldn't have been happier and still feel the same way.
Well, they were very, with the difference in our personalities here, Dennis and mine, it seemed that I believe they took after you, because Dennis raised Frank. So Frank is an awful lot like Dennis, personality-wise.
You said
very
patient.
low-key. The 3 of them are
patient,
very patient.
which is a nice quality.
Where I'm more flighty, but
We encouraged them to, try to get higher education, to
College.
achieve, to go to college. But as far as picking a vocation, I don't think we ever encouraged them in one way or the other. We just wanted to make sure that that they would go to college because they'll be better off in getting jobs and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as saying, that you need to be a doctor or a lawyer or an Indian chief, we
What would you think is the best way to choose your
Well,
partner?
I think similar backgrounds helps, but I mean that shouldn't be the determining factor either. But you can't just jump into things either. It's something, love is just a word. Actions speak much louder than words, and you can determine without having said a word whether you're that compatible and whether you really love each other. And
That's an interesting way of looking at it. Yeah. What about religion? Do you think it's important for when a child is growing up to have structure around that and learn about their background and history of religion?
I have no problem with that. You know, they're attending an Episcopalian school, and now Harrison is in a Catholic school, and I'm all for that.
How come?
Because they're teaching some values that are very helpful to you throughout your life.
So Dennis, you were born in Kansas. You're from German ancestry. How did you? Your childhood was obviously in Kansas, and what was that like? And then the second part of the question would be, why did you come to California and settle here?
Okay, well, I was born in Kansas. Like I said, I was born on a farm. And then we moved to northeastern Kansas, where I grew up. And then when I got out of high school, I joined the Air Force. And then I was in San Antonio, Texas for basic training. And then they sent me to Lubbock, Texas, where I played. And I ended up playing in a band in Iceland, which was really a lot of fun.
What were you playing? You played an instrument.
Oh, well, I started playing drums in high school.
Oh, that's so
when
nice.
I was 15. And
Did you go to college?
yes, then when I got out of the Air Force,
Oh.
I had the GI Bill. That's when I went to Hayes first, and then I came to San Jose and went to City College, and then I transferred to San Jose State.
Now, when you were going to college, you must have, had you already met Lola, or
Yeah.
was this before?
Yes. In fact, we were married before I got out of college.
Oh, yes.
Did your parents meet one another? Did Herman and Minnie meet Rita?
Not till after we were, not till after we were married.
Yes.
Were they happy with the marriage? Did you celebrate it?
Yeah, my
That's good.
folks
Well,
were.
my
They
folks were
thought,
too.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't mind that there wasn't a big wedding, obviously.
No, and you know, you had mentioned religion. Now I was raised Lutheran. She was raised Catholic, but that was never a conflict for either of us.
No. I'll tell you later.
Yeah, no, now. So you were born, Lola, in San Jose, and you've lived here for 85 years?
84.
84, whoop, 84 years. So you must love it here.
I do. I
What
do.
do you- Any advice you would give your great-grandchildren?
You can't take life too seriously. You'll go bonkers. You know, you have to learn how to accept certain situations with which you're confronted, and you have to learn to live through them. Sometimes it's very difficult, but
But it happens to everyone, and you have
Yeah.
to realize that everyone
yeah.
has to deal with things they don't want.
And the other thing is, I think, is at least as important, or maybe even more, never lose your sense of humor.
I
You know,
agree.
laughing is the best medicine. And if you can't find anything to laugh about, you got to do some changes. Because you know,
No, I agree with both of those so much. I
She
agree.
laughs.
I
played-
really think both of those are really, really important myself. But
I believe it was my grandfather that
he had a twin.
that there were twins in his family, or he was a twin. Again, and that was my grandfather.
That's close.
You know.
So was that Ray's father or Rita's
No,
father?
no. Yes, my mother's.
Oh, okay.
Rita. And then after that, twins were born to my niece,
Wait, what's her name?
Carol,
Uh-huh.
and she had two girls.
Oh, physical health. What would you suggest for your offspring?
you exercise throughout your
Exercise.
life. You don't stop exercising because you age. That's when you really need it. You know, like right now, we're really enjoying the benefits of walking 2.5 miles every morning.
Really?
Yeah.
2.5 miles.
You feel better.
It's amazing. And it turns into an hour
Sure, it's an
of your
hour.
life
Hour.
every
It's
day.
an hour.
Well, the doctor told her she'd walk an hour, so we figured out that it was 2.5 miles.
How did you get into cooking, and do you have any other interests besides cooking?
How I got into cooking. My mother was a fantastic cook. really knew how to season foods. Um, and I remember I would watch her as she'd be putting the salt in and pepper and what have you. And then as I got a little older, I would help her cook. I was in charge of making the tortillas and helping her with other things. But I would really zoom in on her and see, really watch her as she would be cooking. And that carried through, and I became a good cook.
It's amazing.
If we go out to dinner, Derek might be the same way. I'm tasting every little and trying to figure out what did they put in.
Oh,
into this.
that's
and then
interesting.
I'll come home and I'll try it.
Uh-huh.
Say,
Oh, Dennis has a question for you.
We've we have gone out to eat, and we have a really delicious meal, and she'll figure out how to make it, and she'll come home and make it even better than in the restaurant.
Derek does the same thing. He'll
Yeah.
say, we can make this at home.
Yeah.
I'm going to figure out a way. So you
Yeah.
pass that on to Derek. Did you know that?
And
that's
one-
quite
Yeah.
a challenge if you
Uh-huh.
cook.
and one other thing, her mother was a very good cook, but she's gone beyond what her mother did. I
Oh.
think she's even a better cook than her
That's
mother.
amazing.
And her mother was a great cook.
I have spent many hours with my grandchildren, with Sabrina having the twins. I helped her and enjoyed every minute of it. And I know those girls as well as Sabrina knows them.
So sweet.
I'd say one thing to pass along to our, well, we have grandchildren now, but great-grandchildren and great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren, we love them all.
Oh.
I know we will.
That is so
Because you can't,
sweet.
I mean, we see our grandchildren running around now,
Uh-huh.
and you want to get them and squeeze them.
Oh, that is so sweet.
Yeah.